Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Juanita y soy asistente legal aquí en Molina Law Group con la abogada Abigail Molina. Y este video empieza la serie de nuestras clases de ciudadanía. Y nomás como un antecedente, las clases se van a enseñar en inglés porque el examen va a ser en inglés para ustedes. Entonces, este va a ser la última vez de que yo termine de hablar en español, porque ya de aquí en adelante se va a hablar en inglés. Entonces, empezando, permíteme un segundo mientras voy compartiendo mi pantalla. Ok, se me hace que ya, ok. Como dije, esta es la clase de ciudadanía. Entonces empieza la serie, va a haber 6 clases en total y las clases van a durar, yo digo, entre media hora a 1 hora, dependiendo del material que vamos a empezar a hacer. Las preguntas van a ser basadas sobre las preguntas dadas por USCIS que se pueden encontrar en su página de website en USCIS. Son 100 preguntas totales en las cuales ustedes tienen que prepararse para cuando vayan a la entrevista de ciudadanía. Entonces, si ustedes no saben, pueden encontrar las preguntas en las cuales la clase está basada en el website de USCIS y se pueden meter a buscarlas. Okay. So, moving on to talking in English, we will be covering today questions 88 to 100. And that is on page 10 of the USCIS questions. Geography and holidays. So holidays. So the first thing with holidays is, when is Independence Day celebrated? And so it is celebrated July 4th of every year. So the next question, and this is a question 100 on the name 2 U.S. holidays. So these are nationally known U.S. holidays, which include New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So you will be required to provide 2 of these answers for the citizenship test. So just remembering that the holidays, again, New Year's and all of the holidays provided there are all correct for the citizenship test. So pretty easy enough. I think most would probably know so 1 or 2 of the holidays. So take some time to pause everything and see, do you remember 2 holidays from this list? So take some time, pause the recording, maybe write it down as you go along. So we will be moving on to geography, which encompasses questions 88 and 98, so 10 questions. And the first question is, what are the 2 longest rivers in the United States? And so the 2 longest rivers in the United States are actually the Missouri River, and Mississippi, the Mississippi River. So those are the 2 longest rivers in the United States. The next question, which is question 89, is, what ocean is on the west coast of the United States? So remembering that the west coast, for many, I'm assuming hearing this video, is the states that encompass Washington, Oregon, and California. So that is the west coast of the United States. And so this question is asking what ocean is on the west coast. So if you live along, let's say, Oregon, and you go to, the coast or the beach, what ocean are you seeing? And there's a picture right there where you could see hints for the ocean on the west coast. And let me just go ahead and stamp something, or I could draw, I guess. So I'll point to it. So the example, which is right here, is a hint for what ocean that could be. So when you take a look at any world map or maybe even US map, you can see it. So the ocean that is on the west coast of the United States is the Pacific Ocean, as seen right here where the little arrow is at. And so let me see, let me just try to clear this. And so that is the ocean, again, that is located on the west coast. So the next question, which is question 90, is what ocean is on the east coast of the United States? So the east coast would be those east coast states like New York, Delaware, New Jersey. So it's on the other side of the United States. So it's asking what ocean is located on the east coast of the United States. And the answer to that question is the Atlantic Ocean. So you can figure out your own way to kind of memorize it, because it could get a little hard trying to remember which ocean is on the west coast or which ocean is on the east coast, and trying not to get those mixed up. But something that I like to, or something that helps me is the Atlantic coast is on the east coast, and I know that because E and A come closer together on the alphabet, whereas west coast, so west, W, and P come after the alphabet. I don't know if that logic makes any sense, but that is what I do to help me remember what ocean is where. So figure out whatever works for you, whatever you think helps you in memorizing what rivers come where. And overall, it's very good to know, just as a general, knowing, understanding. So. Perfect. So geography continues. So the question, which is question 91, is what is one U.S. territory? So take some time to, you actually know what a U.S. territory is? So a U.S. territory is not considered a state. So there are 50 states in the United States, but a U.S. territory is land that the United States has that isn't officially recognized as a state. Do you know what some of them may be? And so for these US territories, the people living there are considered US citizens. So it's nothing similar. The US still governs those territories, although getting into the specifics of that is different. But so I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to see if you can try to think of any US territories that you may know or maybe have heard of in the past. And so let me give you a hint. One of these US territories speaks Spanish. So I'll give you about 5 seconds and see if you can, if you know. Perfect. So did you guess Puerto Rico for one of the US territories? Because if yes, you're right. So the US territories, which there are a couple, is Puerto Rico, the US Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Northern Mariana Islands, and Guam. So, out of those questions, you only have to name one of the U.S. territories. So going to the next question, which is question 92, it's asking, name one state that borders Canada. And I think this would be easier if staring at a map, you would be able to see everything. So think about the US is here. The US is at the top, and then the Canada is at the top. My apologies. You have the US, and then you have Mexico down here. So when thinking about Canada, try to visually see if the US is in the middle of between Canada and Mexico, what states at the top would border Canada? So try to think about it in a visual way. And so the answer to that would be Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Alaska. So again, take time to look at a US map and see the states that are at the very, very top of the border. And see and try to, again, visualize it. So for that question, which is question 92, you only need to name one state. So you don't need to name more than one. So going on to the next question, question 93, is what is one of the states that borders Mexico? So again, thinking about it visually, if you have Canada over here, and then you have the US here, and then you have Mexico down here, what would be those border states on the lower bottom of the United States? So can you try to guess some of those states? So the answer to that question is California, the correct answers to that would be California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. So just remember, you only need to know one of the states, not all of them. So moving forward so it's up here. So let me show you. I should have some bullet points, I'm sorry. So the first question that I'm looking at is this one. And the question to that is, what is the capital of the United States? So do you know what the capital is? It is actually Washington, D.C., which is located on the East Coast. So again, take a map just to familiarize yourself with it and see what it's like. It's very small. And there's obviously only one correct answer to that. So the next question, which is question 95, asks me, let me go ahead and draw an arrow. So it's this question right here. And the question is, where is the Statue of Liberty? And the answer to that, there's two answers, correct answers, which are New York Harbor, or Liberty Island. Other acceptable answers include New Jersey, near New York City, and on the Hudson River. So the Statue of Liberty is located, again, in New York. So really take time to just sit down and visualize it, I think. Where is the Statue of Liberty? So the Statue of Liberty, fun fact, was donated to the United States by France. So kind of just as a little side note for that. So that's pretty cool. So moving on to question 96, we have, why does the flag, so the United States flag, have 13 stripes? So the answer to that question, or the acceptable answers, include because there were 13 original colonies, and because the stripes represent the original colonies. So when the US, or when people had started coming to the United States, we originally had 13 colonies, and that was way before any of the states were officially formed and became part of the US. So again, the answer to that is because there were 13 original colonies, or because the stripes represent the original colonies. So just think about that as well. And these 13 colonies were found on the East Coast. So moving on. Okay. To the next. Okay, there we go. So the next question is, why does the flag, again, the United States flag, have 50 stars? So think about it for a second. So if you can't, so if this flag has 13 stripes relating to the 13 colonies, why might the flag have 50 stars? What would that represent? So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to see if you can try to guess. Why would the flag have 50 stars? All right, so did you guess? So the correct answers to that question, again, which is question 97, is because there is one star for each state, because each star represents a state, and because there are 50 states. So those are the acceptable answers. And just remembering that there are 50 official states. However, the US territories, which we went over a couple questions ago, those are not counted towards the states. So just make sure you aren't mixing those up. So my question is, do you live in a US territory or do you live in a state? So that's not a question on the test, but that's a good question for you to ask yourself. Okay, so we have question 98, which is our last question. And it's, what is the name of the national anthem? So the name of the national anthem is called the Star-Spangled Banner. And I apologize, I had a video that I was going to show you for the national anthem just for you to hear it, but it looks like it's unavailable on YouTube, so apologies on that. But it is called the Star-Spangled Banner, and it's obviously nationally known, and it's saying when it's sung at any event, it's very respectful and an honorable thing. So if, let's say, you were to go to an event and they were playing the national anthem, you would stand with respect towards looking at the flag and singing along to the Star-Spangled Banner, also known as the national anthem. So I believe that is it for this. So with that, go ahead and how did you do with the questions? How are you feeling? So go ahead and take some time to simply be able to evaluate yourself. Are you feeling okay about these questions? What more do you have to work on? Is there something that's confusing? If yes, maybe trying a different studying technique. You could use flashcards. You could use all sorts of things. And that also leads me to remember the USCIS website also has flashcards that you can print out for yourself, completely free, available to anybody. So if you, again, search on the website, you can go ahead and find free printable flashcards for you to help you study. So again, this ends our first course of our 6 classes, projected classes. So if anything changes, I will go ahead and update you. But so far, this is what we have. I hope that you were able to learn more information, something you didn't know before. But I also, more than anything, hope that this class has been useful as you start studying for your citizenship test. And if you're struggling, totally okay. Take it at your pace, go slow, but remember, at the end of the day, whatever you put into this is what you're going to get out of it. So just practice, 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 and know that you're on to great things, to achieving one of the best things possible, which is becoming a US citizen. So I commend you as you go on your way and as you start this studying and test taking journey.